Coming up on The Hunt for Amazing Treasures. They were films no one had any use for, thrown away as trash, until this man turned them into treasure.
Yoo-hoo!
Jenny thinks that she has the key to popularity, parking in cars with the boys at night.
Some of us can remember sitting in a classroom, a 16mm projector groaning in the background, watching educational films. From the benefits of large-scale industrial production to social etiquette in the school cafeteria.
Nothing like being Miss Popularity.
Yeah.
The titles are clear and explicit. There's no mistaking what these films are about. So can cinematic curiosities like these possibly be called treasure? Well, to Rick Prelinger, that's exactly what they are. And he's been hunting them down now for over 20 years.
I've found films in basements and in dark rooms and in abandoned buildings, and sometimes people have showed up on the front steps with a carton full of film or even a truckload full of film and said, "Here, take it."
This is a story about how trash got turned into treasure. Because Rick Prelinger was the only person who believed these forgotten artifacts had any value at all, pulling many of them right out of the garbage.
I didn't know why I was doing this, but it seemed important. Maybe only because nobody else was doing it.
In downtown Manhattan, in a warehouse in the meatpacking district, Prelinger has amassed an enormous treasure trove of films, over 48,000 of them, piled high on shelves that go right up to the ceiling.
I remember when I was a kid in school, we would have assemblies and we'd see films from the Bell system, or we'd see films about how our local newspaper is printed. And I guess these were advertising, but they were also interesting films.
Prelinger calls them ephemeral films, films made for the moment, not for posterity, which is why no one thought they were worth saving until Rick Prelinger came along.
Take a film like Are You Popular? That's a pretty ordinary garden variety social guidance film made for high school kids.
Popularity. What is it made of? How does a person get to be popular with lots of people and have a few close friends too?
This little 10-minute film has a lot in there. It explains all about like the culture of high school. There's the good girls and the bad girls. There's the cliques, you know, like in the movie Heathers. There's a little explanation about the proper way for a boy to ask a girl out on a date.
Hello? Oh, hello, Wally.
The boy calls for the girl on his date and meets the parents.
How do you do, Mr. Ames?
Here I am, darling. And I suppose this is Wally.
That's right, Mrs. Ames. How do you do?
Well, it's nice meeting you.
All of these archetypal moments, and you know, this film will make us laugh, but there's sociology, anthropology, history, gender roles, you name it, in just this little 10-minute film. This is the end of Dating Do's and Don'ts, which is kind of, again, one of these definitive social guidance films, and Woody's has to say goodnight to Jean, and since it's his first date, he doesn't really know how to say goodnight, and there's some opportunities. He could assault her, which obviously isn't too cool.
One more way. It's getting late.
Yes, it is. I'd ask you in for a bite to eat if it weren't so late. Let's try to get home in time for a sandwich or something next time.
Say, that sounds good. I'll call you next week.
These are films that no one took very seriously, often victims of their own hokiness.
Duck and cover.
But over time, they've become some of the most vivid and historical of cultural documents.
We must be ready for a new danger, the atomic bomb.
During the Cold War, there were hundreds and hundreds of films made, mostly by the U.S. government, as part of civil defense activities, how to protect ourselves against atomic attack, how to survive the A-bomb.
We're tight against the wall this way.
Now, a lot of people are feeling pretty paranoid and scared, so in a way these films have a new relevance.
And the Library of Congress agrees with him.
It reflects the naivete of the early 50s when it was believed that a nuclear war could be survived. I would say now it looks like propaganda, but I think it was made by well-intended government bureaucrats who really believed that this was going to effectively help Americans survive what they feared probably would be the next generation of warfare.
Over the years, Prelinger's passion verged on obsession as he single-mindedly tracked down ephemeral treasures like this one.
Hello, yes, this is Mary. How are you? Bye.
Once Upon a Honeymoon is a Hollywood musical made to promote color telephones. In 1956, the Bell System put out color telephones for the first time.
A bright red phone. I gotta go. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. I'll call you later.
So the telephone became a decorator, accessory, rather than something you'd use to call the doctor or call into work.
Word spread about this crazy fellow who'd collect what most people were throwing in the trash. And the flow of films began to outstrip not only Prellinger's finances, but also his small storage space. But then, he discovered the silver lining in what he was doing.
2 years after I started collecting, somebody came to me and they said, "Do you have footage? We need footage for a TV show, and can you help us?" And I realized that suddenly people wanted what I've got, and they were willing to pay money for it.
Was Prellinger spinning flax into gold without knowing it? Income started to pour in, paying for warehouse space he badly needed for the thousands of films he kept finding.
But I loved the idea of being able to earn money from this collection so that I could support more collecting. I thought, gosh, I find a film for $10 and I can sell a clip for $1,000. This is wonderful.
Clips from films like these, used mainly in television documentaries and commercials, can sell for up to $75 a second.
New materials of intriguing lightness and great strength.
One film, which has been especially lucrative, is about modern design.
We can all depend on the stylist to beautify everything we need. The hand of the stylist is ever designing changes to improve our life of the future.
But the real payoff was yet to come, in the guise of the U.S. government.
And film and sound recording materials are ways of capturing someone's idea of a time and place, and they're just as important and just as worth saving as books, magazines, and newspapers.
So important that the Library of Congress is acquiring the entire collection, giving Rick Prellinger $500,000 for it, while allowing him to continue licensing the clips. Ironically, the U.S. government, one of the largest producers of the films Prellinger has rescued, is paying him for having saved them, as well as all the other films in the collection.
Ephemeral films are time capsules. They tell us what we looked like, they tell us how we thought, they tell us what our attitudes were toward very many of the common mores in our society. And they're a roadmap to how we've changed since filmmaking began in the late 19th century.
Over time, the library will be investing upwards of several $1 million to house, preserve, and catalog all 48,000 films, which have come a long way from the garbage bins Rick Prellinger found them in. While the collection is moved to its new home, Prellinger is making over 1,000 of these films available online. And of course, he'll continue searching for the treasures he's still finding, like this one, about voting machines.
But not for well-intentioned mistakes, not in this age of the voting machine.
This could be right out of today's headlines, but this film was made in the 1950s.
Behind the Freedom Curtain is a wonderful film. It was made by a manufacturer of voting machines, and it explains how voting machines mean that you're going to have an accurate and fair election.
Don't, lady. It doesn't count.
Because you just flip that switch. And it says that with voting machines, we won't have the kind of problem or disputes that we had in Florida just a few years ago.
It's too bad nobody paid attention to this one.
We Americans are kind of a nostalgic nation, and we're also a nation of collectors. And these films tend to give us a very sort of gut feeling about what the past was like when we watch them again. Because when you look back into that history, you begin to understand how we became who we are today.